Alright, so due to at least a single request, maybe two, I'm going to try to basically, well, show you guys how to build my Shockwave inspired Bionicle, or Bionicle inspired Shockwave. No, he does not transform, but, he's a more in-depth model than I usually build, so, I will try basically showing you, step by step from, like, the arm, then the leg, lower body, upper body, then, like, the head about how to build them, so everyone who wants to have a chance to build them should have that opportunity, so I guess we'll start with the legs. So starting with the upper leg, these are all the pieces you'll need. Now, specifically with the this jumper tile, I would go for the new style that has this type of back, just because that does get used on his the back thigh. So just a little bit of detailing, texturing. Now, as I'm doing the legs, everything will be in the mirrored image, just because this is left leg and then broken is the right leg. So simply, just getting one of these CCBS limbs, as you can see. And it's pretty simple. You just get this. I believe just that guy back there. That in there. And there. Make sure the large one's on the bottom. Now the angle of the black, yes. Go there. And then there we go. That is his upper legs. Very simple, easy peasy. Alright, so then for his lower legs, again, even less pieces. The one of these you'll want to use the number 6 length. Now this one particular piece, technically Lego never released in purple. I found them on Bricklink, and I've got a bunch of them, so this isn't the most, I would say, needed piece. It's just a little bit of extra purpley detailing. I think you could probably get something else to go there, or you can just leave it blank. It's not a big deal, but for me, if you can acquire these on Bricklink, that'd be pretty good. They're not really that expensive, I think, and I think you can still find them. So yeah, just with this on the back here. And the color of this I do use is silver, I believe. Flat silver. Nice thing about these two pieces here is, for the most part, they really don't jiggle much. And I do believe once this armor gets placed on here, like they don't jiggle it. Oh, upside down. Heh, silly me. It doesn't jiggle at all, because the socket part is a little bit thicker than the ball, so it actually just keeps that whole thing from jiggling and wobbling. So of course then add those to the through the screen is very interesting. There you go. So there we go. You got his legs. And all right, moving on to the feet. They are identical on either side, so this can be left or right. Doesn't really matter. And these are definitely actually one of my favorite things that I had built. There's some parts about this I really like. So I would just start off with getting these purple filler parts done first. So one by one with the cheese slope, just starting with those. And this dark blay clip. And I can just go right on top there. It technically is a tiny bit illegal, but honestly, I don't really have these clips break very often. So if you're worried about breaking clips, then you may not want to do this, but honestly, it's been fine. It's not like reddish brown or anything, so it's not that brittle. You want to get a cheese slope on a 1x1 plate here. Now this little bit is just going to fill into this section right here into the foot, just as filler, just to kind of bulk that up. So we're just going to leave that for a second, and we're going to make this little, I guess, contraption that goes inside the foot, I do believe. Yes, and that, what does that? Right, that's going to go in there. We're not going to do it quite yet. Just using the red axle and the bushing. That goes there. Now, a really interesting thing about these purple, I always call them KK2 armor, or Knights Kingdom action figure armor, just because they bulk up the legs. Now these are going to go into this hole and onto here. And now you'll know specifically if you got them in wrong or not, because they should be able to really tightly closed. Now, I've discovered something, like they barely fit in here. And in most cases, when you have this, you can see there's a slight jiggling gap. As you can see, when you push it in, there's that click. I really hope that came on camera. So I'll just do it again, bring it up close if I can. And there you go. Like that just clicks in place. Which is why I don't have anything holding these two together. Like it clicks in place, it's snug, everything works beautifully. So we just slide that part in there. Ooh, come on. Again, that everything is perfectly connected. Now click, everything fits in perfectly there. And not a loose piece on that foot whatsoever. Alright, so then we can get all his legs together. And there we have his legs. Alright, time to move on to his, I think lower torso we'll do next. So essentially this is his whole, got his upper body here, and this whole lower body, anything from the waist swivel down. Now this, you technically can't build all in one go and then attach this. You actually have to leave a couple pieces off before we get to that, so basically what we're going to be building, leaving that, basically these 5 pieces we're just going to be completely to the side until we reassemble this whole hunking mess. So for the socket and the waistcloth, these are your pieces you need, and pretty much just attaching that to there, that to there. Doesn't really matter. I mean, I should really change this. Keep it blue. I don't mind a little bit of Energon popping out through his build. Which actually one nice thing about using blue pins on a transformer inspired mock is that kind of blue kind of pops and works good as Energon. So you want to build this little section first. So easy peasy, these things should be movable on their own. Put that to the side. Alright, now we have his the rest of his body, starting with the Vaki hip, just sliding that 4-lon axle all the way in there. Make sure that's even. You can always adjust it a little bit later. Grabbing parts on the right here. There. Make sure you got a new ball, because this will you will want it to go all the way through, or at least pretty darn close. I don't think it goes all the way through, but as long as it there, focus, get a little bit sticking out. That way this part can go there as low as it can. Getting this symmetrical connector. Just grab that. Stick it right there. And then with these, you'll want to basically make mirrored images of them. Once we get it here. And there. And these ones, they will hang loose a little bit there. Because in a bit, this contraption will go there. But we're not going to finish this up until we get to the upper torso, because that way we can actually connect the ball here. Because this is basically the torso. Part of it is I'm going to go backwards and showing, because honestly, if I break this, I might not remember how to put it back together. Maybe. So basically there is this section. You got kind of a bunch of stuff on the back. So breaking it down into this might be so. For the stuff to go on top of this, these are simply just 3 pieces. You got the wing, you got the Ordeal Fire style of your factory head, and then what I like to call the Hordika neck. I'm sure this has a real name, but I call it the Hordika neck. And of course, so those just go in there, going to the back hole. That should stay put. And these are basically his wing-like projections, or crazy Mohawk people. Pretty cool. As for his chest piece, all you really need is 2 of these, this specific Legend Chima Razor. I don't remember the crow's name, but this is his chest, and this. So as you can see, we just need to put those there, and of course those 2 holes with these 2 holes. There you go. So the claws, you'll want to go all the way to the 4, just touching the front. And these will just leave on the side for the moment. Alright, so next we're basically going to be building his shoulder section. Now this is his left shoulder. We're going to basically building his right shoulder, which I'm not sure why that fell off. We don't need that right now. We're going to want to build this. Okay, so basically these are just the pieces, pretty simple. Starting with that, making sure that's, you know, kind of swooping inwards. Oh wait, no, that's backwards. Fairness, this is the first time I've had to rebuild this since I built it off on the fly, so grab one of these 3 length axles, slide it in there. Grabbing the Taraga hand, that's what I call those, because that's where I first saw them, Taragas. Slide that in there. What else we got going on? You in there. Ah, yes. So with this, making sure that 3 long goes this way, so it's like 1.5 lengths through there, sliding into there. You'll have this half point just sticking out like that. That is normal. That is to be expected. We'll into 2 long. Ooh, we want these 2 pieces just connected there and to slide into here. 2 length axle just tucked right into there. I may have forgotten what I'm doing. Yes, now these other pieces, once you get that, and I forgot these 2 as well. This is basically where his head's going to connect to. No, just ball in there. Now I believe, judging by how things look built, essentially you're just going to want to do something like that, because I believe that's going to slide into there. But either way, they will attach to those there. So that makes up the majority of his chest chest region. There we go. The reason for his chest. So we put that to the side. You'll want 2 of each piece of these pieces to make a mirror of this. Very simple. There we go. Just got 2 of those. You can put those to the side. Alright, so these are the pieces you will need for the chest, and I've kind of laid them out in the order I need to build them because I don't want to forget how I built this guy. So starting with the Clitorian neck, 3 long pin just all the way through, doesn't matter which side you do it. Quatanuva's neck piece, slide that in there. And then you want to slide this guy straight through there. And I believe that in there, followed by that on there. So this is only connected by half a piece, but it stays put and does what we need. So we'll just have to live with that for the time being. Now with this, grabbing the 4 length axle, sliding that all the way through. Then, are these upside down? I believe these ones go like this. And then we'll want these 4 length stoppers to go through that way. Grabbing this. That'll just keep that in snug. Unfortunately, this, and you could use black if you do want to use dark gray, but that's up to you. I probably should have used black. Now this is very important for Shockwave's pipe on the back, so we're just going to stick that right in there. And then just getting pretty much to the last of it. That can go in there. Slide that there. Holding the back. These 2 guys. So just make everything nice and snug. So then we have the rest of the chest. Like I said, these might be switched around. We'll see once I start putting things back together. Because taking these 2 with the 4 length axles. Oh, right. Sorry. You want that there. Because these guys go through here. and here. Taking the wing-like projections, are they on that side? Yeah. They just slide right in the back there. Everything keeps snug, kind of keep them from moving too much out of place. Then taking that whole chest part, flipping it right this. So these blue pins here will connect into there. And at that same time, I believe these axles are going to go into those holes up there, if I did everything right. I want to position these shoulders a little bit out of the way. And there we go, that's all in place. So, what then we're going to do next is, of course, just that chest we built earlier, just where that ball is. And then, actually, no, those can swoop back a little bit. They should just fit nice and snug because the groove in there should just slide there and just lean right on there. And then those can just sit like that. All right, so now we need to connect this with the rest of this to make the stiffest waist swivel I have ever had in my life. So, because not only does this have the bit of rubber in there, because it was meant for larger builds, you can stick that on there. And just kind of having that hover down there. So you should probably take that guy off first. You can slide this guy into there. And using these little guys here, actually, hold on. Take these guys off first. That'll be easier. Look, I forget how I build my mocks sometimes, so, you know. And that guy there. Oh, right, yeah, no, this is better. This is better. Starting with that. Just simply slide 2-length axle. And, gosh, do that to the other side. So the mixture of the rubber in there as well as just this piece hugging that ball, you have one of the, at least in this particular case, one of the stiffest waist swivels I've ever had. Okay, now we can reattach it to where it needs to be. So just using these on the side, slide on there, slide it on there. That should just stay put in there because everything else is keeping it in place. Were those upside down originally? You could probably have them upside down. And then just, that fills in the ass. So that is his torso. Of course, we can just connect that all with the legs. Nothing special there. All right, so let's get moving on to the arms before we go any further. So this is his left arm, which is, they are built slightly differently for a couple different reasons, but we'll get to that when we get to the other arm. So you can just start off with, you know, typical Hero Factory joint, the fist, making sure that they are angled away from each other. Taking this through ball, the one that you can see all the way through. Blue pin axle. And I can just stick in there. The armor. Making sure the holes are on the back end there. And then we can just stick this guy just over top there. Like I said, this inner one is not purple. It really doesn't matter. Taking this guy and sticking it that way. It works a bit better. So having this on the top works better. So on the bottom, you have a little bit more flex room to go in there. So very minimal, but you know, you might like it later. All right, so going on to this, just getting the black pin back there, connecting into there. which is a little loose for this arm, but this is actually slightly different how the other one is. And when I get to the other arm, you can do the same option here, but I'll explain why I don't have anything different for that one. You'll figure it out. 3 long axle through the wheel with that. Now we need to make sure that we are looking. So I need to rotate this 90 degrees, just so that. Actually, I don't think it really matters too much because it doesn't go through an axle hole, but it makes it better for my mind. You'll want 4 of those, 2 on each side, with one of them with this, so that when you slide it through here, that one with the round piece keeps it placed. I think you could probably put a second one in here if you really want to get to snug, but one does the job easy peasy. And then a ball there. You could use the 3 long stopper going through here with that ball to keep it on a bit better, but I didn't like the brown axle sticking out, so that's your option. If you want to make that a little bit tougher, you can use that 3 long stopper and just kind of keep that in place a little bit better. So that's his left arm. So a lot of things from his other arm are very similar, like this whole contraption you make, completely identical. Although, the arm piece, you'll want one with a double socket, so that when you connect his gun, you'll want this. So you can start with just that with the long one. And if you end up having one of these, which only came from Speed Demon, which I really do think looks very Transformery. That's pretty much just his lower arm. And of course, like before, you want the ball in here, same way. Now, this specific spot is where it's different than his left arm. Because his right arm has a lot more weight to it because it has a gun, and just having 2 points of pin connections means you're left with a lot of wobble, and especially in 2 points, that is absolutely annoying and terrible for posing. You just can't. However, early on in Lego's career or production, they had these black pin axles that had these friction ridges as compared to regular ones. Hope you can see that. Because the regular ones, basically the friction ridge, has a gap in there. And they're meant not to be nearly as, they also have that hole like right through the side. These older ones they came out with did not have that hole in the middle like that one does. And the frictions, ridges, go a lot longer. So that when this is connected, it stays put. It does not move like at all. So I've been fortunate that I've had like a collection of about 5 or 6 of them in my collection. They're not really expensive on Bricklink whatsoever. They're just not very common. So you might not have any in your collection. But if you don't want this to, don't want that to move, that is how you do it. So of course, slide that in there. Same deal with the ball. Stuck that in there. And that there. So one thing I do like about it is the only time I've ever built a mock where that old super friction pin is a necessity to it. I've used them, I believe, on a mock before, but they weren't like needed. It was more so just a fun thing. So yeah, those are his arms. You can stick those just onto the shoulders into the body. Just like that, nothing too spectacular. Though, you got his shoulders on now. Alright, moving on to the gun and hose. Alright, so these are the parts you're going to need for his gun and hose. Now, I did leave this section built just because I didn't want to confuse myself more with building it, but this is very straightforward. It's just a few pieces. Anyone, I think, looking at this knows exactly what pieces there were, so I'm not worrying about that. To start off the gun, you want this 5 long stopper with this through ball going all the way through. You'll want this in pearl dark gray, sliding that through. Then 2 of these wheels, preferably the same color. If they're not the same color, you don't really notice it just because one hides. Now, of course, you'll want to make sure those are that the holes are actually lined up. I do believe that's actually pretty important. So you want, yes, I guess once I have it, actually, this just spins around, so just going to stick that there, so the axles, there, so all the holes are lined up. Now this can move, but the reason why you kind of need them lined up specifically, just threading through the back, you'll want to get one of these guys. You'll need it because something will connect to it, as well as it also, you know, keeps this from jiggling a little bit more. Not tons, but a little bit. And so just mirroring that on the other side, I believe. I think it just goes here. I think that's all I need. We'll figure out if I did something wrong or not. But sliding that connector in there. This whole contraption goes right underneath there. Easy peasy. Taking two of these double pin connectors. Now, for some reason, I have a black and metallic black. Please make those matching colors because I do not know why I didn't. And then just a couple of pins. The orientation, that doesn't really matter too much, just because it doesn't actually have much effect. So that's the main part of the gun. And then we have the hose, which the length of these, I am not 100% sure. Basically, as long as it's long enough that it can hook through the gun all the way to his back with a decent amount of posing, that's all he really needs. So they're longer than shorter. So just connecting the two hoses together. There we go. And black pins on both sides of it. And then connecting that there. Now I believe that this just connects to the bottom there. And so of course the ball in here, you'll want to connect to the inside of this, and that's why you needed that double socket one there. And of course everything should just slide in nicely. That armor piece just slots in. And then on the back there, you have this. And that just slides in there, so you get his gun arm. Alright, so last and most importantly, we need to get his head. So let's move on to that. Now his head is probably one of the most, was one of the trickiest things I had to do, and it's a little finicky and a little illegal, so you know, if you find it's a little not to your taste about how unsturdy it can be, that's, I suppose, something you complain about. So yeah, let me show you the parts you need. Alright, so those are the parts you'll need for his head, with a few duplicates here to make this assembly. So, starting with the frame, you want to grab this guy, now making sure that the axles line up. So, like this, you want to stick the two bushings just on the top there. For some reason I have an old gray and a new gray. Did not realize that. Interesting. Okay, and then just quickly connecting these ones, because this will be what connects to his neck. Sliding that on there. You want to put that there. Half bushing down there with this in there. That will wobble. Do not worry, that is fine. Having that one slide in there. Moving on to more of his chin. Connector with a 3 long axle. Not too crazy. Now I do like to have these bushings with the vent on the outside, just for a little bit of texture and detail on his face. Sliding that into there, just grab that half. I guess I could just take that off. I may have forgotten. Slide that into there. Okay, so that's gonna have to, there. that is that. Then grabbing this through ball, as per a lot of the build is through balls. I'm going to slide that there. Now this wheel technically doesn't attach to anything. And in this particular case, it's very finicky. But thankfully enough, once we attach this armor piece, it stays in. Just this little bit of lip there and a little bit of the bottom there keeps that wheel from popping out. So everything there should stay put. So we just need to slide this 3-long stick from your system collection. If you have a separate one, you want to put that there. Beautiful. And then lastly, we want to get to his head fins. So one of these, a pneumatic T-bar, technical connector with axles on both sides, red horn, and then that purple armor piece. And so that top pin of the purple armor pieces, those are going to connect right into that. So when you push these guys in, should basically stick the horns out, if I did everything correctly. There we go. You'll kind of want to make sure that those black, that they kind of push forward. So they're not lined up, like this part is flush with that, so that this black is underneath that gray. So that is his head. Now, in fairness, when I built the head, I did not know where my 2 purple ones were. So you do have the option of making, if you have a couple purple, which only did come in Evo 2.0, which is weird because he's the only Evo, so technically he was the first Evo, but that's beside the point. But you can make a purple styled head, and honestly I probably could have, but I did like how the red looked over time, especially because, let's get those guys back on. Especially because his chest did have this red here, and the little bits of red axles I didn't mind. So yeah, then lastly, all you need to do is grab the head. Just kind of make sure everything is tucked into place. Those 2 axles down there. Just into there. Well, there you have it. That there is a Bionicle Shockwave, which, pardons if this may have been a little weird to follow along to. I don't really do Let's Builds very often or anything like that, so. But he was definitely one of the most, I would say, in-depth Bionicles I've built in a long time. And just using a good amount of purple. He wasn't even intended to be a Shockwave originally. I was trying to design a head for him, and eventually I just decided that he was looking a lot like Shockwave, and I just kind of rolled with it. Like I said, does not transform, but I think when you're building Shockwave, no one really cares about it. Well, people care about his ultimate. I even care about his ultimate, but it was a Bionicle inspired by Shockwave, and I just really went into that. So, you know, yeah, that is him. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if any of you guys end up building him, I would love to see a picture of it. You know, that'd be kind of cool. See other people building this. But like I said, technically the only piece that isn't a officially released piece were these little purple things here. But like I said, in the grand scheme of that, you do not need it. So hope you guys liked it, and I am retiring from the night.